There we go. We are back in the LONGBOX CRUSADE studios for another Best Under 5. I am your host, Jarrod Albrecht, the yard sale artist. Joining me, as always, is Black Belt Chris. What's up, Black Belt Chris?
Oh, not a whole lot. Actually, there is. I just got back from seeing the new Naked Gun movie.
Oh, yeah? All right,
Yes,
quick review.
and it was fantastic.
Oh,
It's
okay.
the the humor is there more in the dialogue than in the cinematography. I mean, there's still some of that visual humor, but a lot of it's in the dialogue. But it's a worthy follow up to the original three, especially
Okay.
considering it's Frank Drebin's son.
Right. I have not heard anyone say anything bad about it yet. So yeah, it gives me a little bit of hope. Comedies in the modern era, according to Jarrod, can be tough. So it's good to hear a lot of people are enjoying it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I saw a preview for the new Running Man, and my son, he leans, because it was my son and my wife was with me, and he leans over and he goes, "So, Dad, what do you think?" I go, "Darn right, we are going to see that."
Oh man, I'm nervous, man. I had this theory that if you just released the original Running Man back in the theaters, it would make more money than the new Running Man does. But I'm a grumpy old man, admittedly.
See, the reason I'm down for it is because I have not read the original one. I've not read the book that Stephen King wrote that
Oh, okay. It is. Yeah, it's
the
pretty
movie was
different.
based on, and the Schwarzenegger version is wildly different
Yeah,
from
from the book.
the book.
Yes,
From what
I've
I
read it.
know of the book, this
Yeah.
one follows the book a lot more
Okay. Yeah.
closely. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm down for this.
Yeah, definitely a different tone, big time different tone. So yeah, that could work. That could work. I'll stop being so grumpy for now. Besides,
Unlike the
how can you be grumpy when we're about to talk about such a fun movie, man?
exactly.
All right, guys. Best Under 5 is back. Small talk time is over. We're about to talk about today's topic, which, by the way, is Batman and Robin, 1997. It currently has a 3.8 on IMDB. We're talking Batman and Robin. We're talking George Clooney, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Chris O'Donnell, Uma Thurman, Alicia Silverstone, 1997.
7.
And
Yes.
I will tell you the tale of Jarrod around this film, and Chris will tell us the tale of him around this film. We'll talk about 3.8s and whether or not it's deserved. We'll talk about our thoughts on this. We peek behind the curtain. We've talked about doing this movie for a while, right? And last time after we finished last episode where we talked about, I don't know, something Assassin.
Yes, Assassin.
Yeah. Behind the scenes, right? Goodbye, everyone. We shut down the recording, and then Chris and I sat in the studio. I was like, Chris, I've picked a lot of these lately. I'd go ahead and pick one. And he was like, let's just do it, man. Let's do Batman and Robin. And I was like, all right. Now, for those of you who are very familiar with the LONGBOX CRUSADE Network, we covered Batman and Robin about a year or two ago on Pop Culture Podcast. Pat and I did a podcast on it. So you will hear some of Jarrod's recycled thoughts on that because, my opinion hasn't changed. But you know what? We are going to get into Batman and Robin 1997. But right before we do that, I have a voicemail that we received for this show. Someone called 707-532-5269, 707-532-LBOX. Like 2 months ago, and I kept it's been sitting in that tray, and I forgot to play it for 2 episodes in a row now, and I can't do my boy like that. So before we get into Batman and Robin 1997, we have to listen to a voicemail from friend of the show, Rick. So let's listen to what Rick sent
in. Best Under 5. I've got 4 words for you. Sharks of the Corn. Once again, Sharks of the Corn. 2021, 1.9 on IMDB. Good luck.
Sharks of the Corn. What do you think, Chris?
I don't know, man. We're delving back into Shark Exorcist territory there.
Exactly right. As soon as he said 1.9, I was like, he's taking me back into Shark Exorcist territory.
Yeah.
I'm almost killed Chris.
I have not seen it. My son has seen. I take it back. I've seen the trailer, and my son has heard about it, and he's seen the trailer too. And he's like, "This looks absolutely horrible." I said, you are not wrong.
I had not heard of it at all until Rick left it on the voicemail. Like, again, 2 months ago. Sorry it took so long, Rick. I just kept forgetting to press play on that stupid
I mean, we could do an entire podcast on sharksploitation movies.
Yes.
I'm sure there's a couple out there. There's another one that pops to mind is a women's prison, Arkansas women's prison shark massacre or something like that. Oh my
goodness.
that one's actually pretty funny. But then there's another one called Raiders of the Lost Shark, which is like just slightly above Shark Exorcist.
Probably my favorites are probably Toxic Shark. I liked that one, and I liked
I think I've seen that one.
I liked Ghost Shark.
Yes, I liked Ghost Shark. I also like that one with Dolph Lundgren. I can't think of the title of it. Shark Lake, thank you. Yes.
I have it on my Plex, but I haven't watched it yet. So I need to see it. But if it's got Dolph Lundgren in it, I'm watching it. In fact, you guys will be on the first to know that I'm considering doing a Dolph Lundgren podcast on the LONGBOX CRUSADE Network called Keeping It on the DL, a Dolph Lundgren podcast. I'm seriously considering going through his entire filmography on a podcast. So, something to think about.
You do that, you're going to peak really quick, and then it's going to be a roller coaster after that.
I will know it's all peak. I will hear no unkind words about Dolph Lundgren.
I'm talking on a Dolph Lundgren scale, not on a general movie scale.
Okay. Yeah, in the Lundgren universe.
Yes.
All right. Speaking of Lundgren, who's a muscle-bound guy with a fun accent, let's talk about Schwarzenegger as a muscle-bound guy with a fun accent, and that's how I'm going to tie it back to Batman and Robin 1997. We're going to talk about it, folks. We are going to talk about it. So it's got a 3.8. This is, I think, universally the most disliked Batman movie. I mean, it's got a 3.8. It came out in the summer of 97. I will now tell my story around it, and then I'd love to hear Chris's story around it about how he saw it. But this one was particularly tough for me in that it came out on June 20th. I can say that because I see the poster up on our graphic for those of us who are watching live is at the bottom of the poster. And here's one thing I know for sure is that I was at basic training for the military on June 20th because I worked at the theater. This is when I was in college, and I worked at the theater when this movie was coming out. And you're not going to find a bigger Batman fan than me. And so this movie comes along, and I'm excited about it. I even had, and this is very visual for those of you who are watching, I even had in my room, because I worked at the theater, we got the teaser posters. One said Hero. This was hanging up in my bedroom in college. I had the Heroes poster, which I've now just put on the screen. It has Batman, Robin, and Batgirl on a cool looking red back. It's a good looking poster. And hanging up next to it, I had the Villains poster, which has Mr. Freeze, Bane, and Poison Ivy. And these were hanging in my room, and I worked at the movie theater, and I'd seen the trailers. I was like, this is new Batman, this is new Batman. I'm currently wearing my Batman Forever t-shirt, which I was a fan of. Another divisive movie, but I love it. Everybody out there could shut up. But Batman and Robin comes out. I'm not able to see it. I'm so excited to finally see it. I mean, that was like one of the first thoughts I was having as I was like on the ride home, finally free of basic military training, back to Auburn to finish my last 2 years of college. I'm riding back. One of the instructors at the camp was one of the captains that was part of my instructor corps at Auburn. He gave me a ride home. And he's like, man, what's the first thing you do when you get home? And high on my list was I'm going to go see Batman and Robin. And I get back and, people were like, man, I'm not so sure you should be excited. And I went and saw it. And admittedly, I was about 20 at the time, 21-year-old Jarrod was not exactly pleased with it. Like I was like everyone else. I was very disappointed in it. And so my original thoughts on it were I did not like it. In fact, this in 97, this is the era where DVDs are starting to become more prolific, taking over VHS. And I was a big DVD guy. DVD's nuts for all those listening. And it got to the point where the Batman movies came out on DVD, and I bought I bought the first 3 and I didn't buy this one. And friend of the show and the guy who joined us last episode, Ezra Gallo,
yeah,
bought me Batman and Robin on DVD as a birthday or a Christmas gift because he was like, dude, I know you need it for the whole set and I know you won't buy it for yourself. So like I bought it for you so you can own it but not have to pay for it. I thought that was a great gift. But I will say this, over the years, within the last 5 to 10 years, I have really softened on this movie and I will have a lot of good things to say about it. That is my story with it. I would love to hear yours, Chris.
I'm actually very similar. Yeah, I saw all of these, the first 4. Actually, well, I've seen all of them up through the Christopher Nolan series, all of them in the theater. I think I saw this opening weekend with my girlfriend in college, and same thing. I came walking out of that going, this was not that good. I was
You were in
not
college
a fan
too.
of
I
it.
just realized we're the same age.
Well, I was out of college at that point. I had graduated I graduated at that point. I graduated in December.
Okay, so you're about 2
So,
years older than me.
Yeah. I got a couple of years on you.
All right,
But
all right.
we went to see it and I was not a fan. And like you, I never really went back to this. I would watch Batman Forever, and Batman Returns all the time. If they ever came on TV, or if I had them on tape. This one I skipped, and then somebody, I'm trying to remember who it was. I said something about this on X probably about 4 years ago, and somebody, one of my followers, and we follow each other, he said something about, you got to go into it with the mindset of this is basically a modern retelling of the Batman movie from 1966. And I went back and rewatched it and I was like, holy cow, he's right.
Yeah. If you,
he's not wrong.
No, absolutely. And you and I talked a little bit about this, behind the scenes. And you're absolutely right. If you put a Batman 66 filter on this, it becomes a lot more palatable and a lot more understandable. If you, from a comic book point of view, the guy who's read a ton of comics, if you put like a Bob Haney filter on it, for those of you who really know comics, he used to write these bonkers stories. They used to be called Zany Haney stories. His name was Bob Haney. If you put a Bob Haney filter on it, it works too. But yeah, so that's our backstories on this. I want to take a quick break to say hi to Doc Strange and to Jim Meal. Doc Strange says, hey, in the chat. And Jim, the Joe Junkie, says, I am not ashamed to admit that sometimes I just watch it for Alicia Silverstone. And Jim, I'm just going to tell you right now, there's nothing wrong with that. Prior to the show, I made a quick little note sheet of things that I kind of like about this movie. And, immature Jared wrote down shapely Silverstone as one of the bullet points. I mean, pretty girl looked very, very nice in this movie. I remember there was like a news story around this. It was like, there was like Alicia Silverstone too chubby for the bat suit or whatever. And I was like, I think she looks incredible. I don't know what the heck you guys are talking about.
Well, when I was doing some digging, looking up trivia on this, that all started from a cartoon that one of the I think it was a production assistant or somebody that was on the set had drawn, and it kind of circulated through the through the set and crew and made its way out into the open, offset, which is how that got picked up. And I don't have it in my notes as the highlight, but I do remember this as a highlight on trivia. But I do remember this. He said the only reason I kept my job was because I didn't sign it.
Oh goodness, yeah. So it was sort of like an internal note that
But I'm as I'm watching the movie, I'm looking at trivia and I'm watching the movie and I'm thinking, I don't see it. I don't see it.
She's great.
She looks absolutely fine in this.
Yeah. So yeah, no problems there. But that is a pretty good segue though to what were some of the fun facts that you found out, Chris? And then we'll get into some more thoughts.
Cow. Well, I mean,
it's gonna be a 2-hour show.
Yes, we're gonna have an hour of trivia. I mean, the amount of trivia that was on IMDb is insane. But I mean, we all know that Joel Schumacher has publicly apologized for this movie, but he has also said, and a lot of people have said, it's like they don't feel a need that he has a need to apologize. He said, and a lot of times the writer for the movie said also took a lot of crap for this too. But he said, I'm the one that's directing it. I pretty much have the final say on what goes on here. So if you're gonna blame anybody, blame me.
Yeah, I've seen that public apology. I want to pause your trivia real quick on that one, Chris, because I want to make this a 3-hour show. I want your thoughts on that because I've seen his apology. I haven't seen about the writer, but I believe it. And I've seen where George Clooney blames himself for the failure of this movie or whatever.
Yep, found that too.
This is my take on it. Like, George, you have nothing to be sorry about. Okay, these were the lines that were handed you. I think you looked good. I think you were a great Bruce Wayne. I think you could have been a very good Batman. Not that you weren't. Like, we're gonna find out, folks. I kind of like this movie, but I don't think George has anything to apologize for. I think George did his job the way a Hollywood actor is supposed to do their job. So you don't feel bad, George. Joel, this is my take on his apology. I appreciate it. I think it did a bit to heal some of the people who were super angry, because I'm one of those people. Like, when I have it, it's in my box set of Blu-rays. I have the little interview where he says, hey, if I didn't make the movie, something like that, something to that effect, if I didn't make the movie you hoped for, expected, I apologize. And I thought, okay, absolutely. Like, I don't think he needed to apologize. The fact that he did, I think made him look human and not caught up in the ego of it. Because I mean, this man has made some bangers. This is the guy who made Falling Down, who's one of the most incredible movies.
Wait. I did not realize that.
Yeah.
I don't know why I did not know that. Holy cow.
Yeah. He's made this. He made The Client, John Grisham's movie. He's made a ton of good movies. So yeah, he has the clout and the ability he could have just told everybody, hey, it's a movie I made, piss off. But he humbled himself before the Batman community. And I think this was right before those days of social media and the internet where like apologizing is now like blood in the water, which is, I don't think it was like that. I think there was sort of a universal of a feeling of, well, we appreciate that apology. So that's the camp I fall in. I appreciate it. I think it was humble of him. I don't think he had to do it, but I think it was big of him to do it. That was my take on it. But if you have thoughts, go ahead.
I don't. I've heard of the apology. I should have probably looked it up before we did this, but I have never seen the apology. I just know he's apologized for it. But he also puts some of the blame on the studio, because some of the trivia I had, is he blames part of the failure of the movie, I guess, if you can call it a failure, the studio pressure to make the film more toy-centric.
Toyetic is a word he used in the interview. Yeah, I saw it.
Yes.
I saw it. Yeah,
that's on here,
which is true. I mean, this is like them. Yeah, it's like G.I. Joe. The cartoons and the comics. Larry Hama had to fit so many characters in.
Yep.
Anyway, you're going.
Yeah. So I thought this one was kind of funny. George Clooney's been known to refund people who saw this film.
Okay. Apparently, I'm gonna have a comment about every trivia bit you read. I'm gonna have a comment on, because this, working at the theater.
Yeah.
No BS, Chris. This is,
Did people ask?
The only movie in my memory that people literally came out and asked for refunds. Like I'd start the movie. And it wasn't terribly uncommon after about an hour in or so to have a couple, 3 people come to the lobby and go, can I get my money back? And we had that theater had a policy of, they wouldn't give you your money back, but what they do is they give you guest tickets. Here, come see another movie on us at any time.
Yeah.
And so, if it's like, if you really like, some people get real salty about, I want my money back, you can kind of double it. Be like, how about this? How about come back and see 2 movies on us? Right. I mean, they're usually pretty happy about that. And in no way did I ever get my hands on a big roll of those guest tickets and use it to swap for food and things like that around town when I was in college, no matter what anybody tells you. Back to you, Chris.
Yeah. There were apparently a lot of meetings. There were plans to keep going with the Batman franchise, but with the poor showing of this, it was what sank it. There was a lot of stuff. They were going to do a Batman Year One. They were also going to do basically continue with this storyline with Batman, Robin, and Batgirl. But after this kind of bombed, at least domestically, they canned it because what did I find? It made 107 million at the box office domestically and 130 internationally. So I mean, overall, it made a lot of money.
Yeah,
for
and that
what it
was
cost you to make it.
$1997 too, so that's not bad.
It went opening weekend. It went up against it debuted number 1, but number 2 was My Best Friend's Wedding. 3 was Con Air. Then Lost World to Jurassic Park and Speed 2 Cruise Control. I'm actually surprised Speed 2 Cruise Control is in the top 5.
Yeah, that's another story for another day, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I think everyone was expecting a new version of the first one, and like, nope, this is horrible.
Didn't it have Willem Dafoe as the villain? I feel like it did. I feel like that was the shining moment of the whole thing.
It was the best part. Everything else was horrible.
Yeah.
And this one I found, the film was originally titled Batman Forever, but stylized as Batman the number 4 ever, because it was the 4th film in the series. However, because the 3rd film already took that title, it was retitled Batman and Robin, which was actually the title for the 3rd film.
Oh my goodness! That part maybe leads to part of the confusion,
which makes sense to me. I mean, that because I always get these two mixed up. I'm like, wait a minute, which one came first?
Exactly. That's the confusion. Like a lot of times when I tell people I like Batman Forever, they go, "Oh my God, how could you like that?" And I immediately go, "Are you thinking of the one with Arnold Schwarzenegger?" And they're like, "Yes." I'm like, "That's not Batman Forever. that's Batman and Robin." Like people conflate these two a lot, and that probably didn't help.
Yeah, Julia Roberts, Sharon Stone, and Demi Moore were all rumored to be in the running for Poison Ivy.
I remember hearing that on the radio when I was a kid. Yeah, Patrick Stewart, I believe, was
as Mr. Freeze.
Mr. Freeze.
I struggle with that one,
which I can see.
I can. If you forget Schwarzenegger's performance, I can very much see Stewart doing this. If you go back to the Batman animated series and think in those terms, definitely. Anthony Hopkins, no way. Ed Harris,
he'd been all right. Yeah, I like Ed Harris for that.
Okay, it's Sylvester Stallone. No, absolutely not.
Oh, now you got me thinking.
I'm gonna say absolutely not on that one.
I fully greenlight it if he gets all the exact same lines of Schwarzenegger. All right, everybody, chill.
It's that it's his way of speaking. I think that would sink it.
I mean, if we can let Arnold do it, we can let. I just want to see every Arnold movie swapped with Stallone and vice versa. I want to see that universe,
and then Hulk Hogan was also considered.
Okay. Rest in peace.
No.
Let me tell you something, Bat Brother.
I mean, regardless of what you think of Hulk Hogan, I cannot picture that. That would have been absolutely horrible. I would take Stallone over Hogan.
Clearly, have never seen No Holds Barred or Suburban Commando.
Yes, I have. I have seen No Holds Barred. And I laughed my butt off at it. I have not seen Suburban Commando yet. I really need to.
Well, bad news for you, Chris. You have to start all the way over because Kathy just arrived in the chat saying we have to start over. She has just arrived. I'll tell you what, Kathy, we'll give you a nice warm welcome, but we're gonna proceed here. We're in the midst of some trivia.
And Clooney credits this movie as getting him into the business and more name recognition, because at the time he was on ER. But this is what really pushed him into movies, because he had done From Dusk Till Dawn, and that's how Schumacher came across him and says, I want him as Batman. And O'Donnell, Thurman, and Alicia Silverstone were still kind of up and comers.
Yeah,
this helped him, even though the movie wasn't great. It helped him.
Yeah, Thurman had just hit her stride thanks to Pulp Fiction. Silverstone, Clueless, I think might have been right before this.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Of course, Chris O'Donnell, I knew him from Batman Forever, so I don't know. Yeah. So, and Schwarzenegger, he was an up and comer. This was like his big breakthrough.
Yes. Well, he got top billing over Clooney. I mean, that which is unusual. That was somewhere in the trivia or something about this.
Yes,
it's like one of the few times that's happened.
Yeah. This I think Gene Hackman got billing over Superman in the original one.
Yeah, I believe so.
I think Nicholson got billing over Keaton in Batman '89. But yeah, it's kind of. By the way, in the comments, Kathy's first comment says Chris O'Donnell. That's it. That's the comment, which is only fair because we started this whole thing off talking about how good Alicia Silverstone.
Yeah.
So we got the ladies in the chat now, and it's Chris O'Donnell.
The ladies' view.
Yeah, and I can't argue. He's a handsome dude. Chris O'Donnell's a handsome dude, without a doubt. Mm-hmm. So what else? Yeah, I know you're not done.
Oh, that's what I. That's what I pulled from IMDb. I could pull up IMDb's page. There's like 200 lines of trivia. And
yeah, all the best ones.
Some of them are a rehash too, but those are the high points.
All the best ones when I looked, and this was a year or two ago when we did it on Posicast. We're all around Schwarzenegger, and he had crazy demands. Like it was like he said he didn't want to work more than, I think it was 6 hours a day, and then you got to remember the application of that makeup was like a 2-hour job on and like another hour and a half off. So like basically they had him for a couple of hours a day. I remember he absolutely hated the glow stuff they had to put in his mouth. They would use the actual little glow stick, so they would break. And he said it tasted terrible.
It was glow sticks. Like, I saw something that said it was like a battery. Yeah, like LED battery.
LED battery. Yeah.
It wasn't. It wouldn't seal properly.
That's what it was. That's what it was.
Yep. The saliva would get in there. The batteries would leak, and so he's tasting battery.
That's what it was. Yeah, I was in my head. It was the little glow sticks, but you're right. It was battery flavor. Now that you mentioned it, this Jared's bad memory, but yeah, he had a lot of interesting. Like, I think he wanted time to play. I think he was golfing a lot in those days, or if it's him, he loves to go to the gym. Either way, yeah. But Arnold Schwarzenegger top billing, by the way. So yeah. Batman and Rob, there's some trivia for you from Chris. There's a ton more of it out there. Like you said, you guys can check it out. So, man, I guess now we just need to start really kind of talking about our thoughts on it. Now, you guys have listeners and viewers, you've probably already gotten the vibe that we like it better than most. I don't think either one of us is going to give a 3.8, but we have a whole section of the show where we're going to do that. Let's just start talking about it. I'll do a couple ups and downs, and we'll let Chris do a couple ups and downs, and we'll see where we go from there. I will lead with the biggest up that I always lead with when I talk about this movie. I think Clooney is a really good Bruce Wayne. I like his Bruce Wayne scenes a lot. I think especially the ones he shares with Michael Gough as Alfred. Because this plot, it has a B plot, where Alfred is not doing well and he's hiding his disease from Bruce, and they have a lot of tender moments together in this one, and I think those are incredibly good. I really like the Bruce and Alfred moments in this movie. Now I realize that there's probably about 4 minutes of Bruce and Alfred movies in a 2-hour something movie, but yeah, I like it quite a bit. To be fair, I will say the biggest downside of this movie is one of the words, because we're going to look at some reviews as per usual later on. One of the words I think that comes up a lot is it mess or jumble, or there's a lot. I think there's a lot in this movie. It's you can't accuse it of slow pacing. It's almost like too much. I mean, as you look at the poster, we've got a lot of there's so many characters now. You're getting a Batgirl sub story which involves Robin. You're getting a origin of Poison Ivy sub story. You've got Batman, like Bruce Wayne is dating the actress in this movie. I think it's like Claudia Schiffer, or like she was like
Elle McPherson.
Elle McPherson. I knew it was one of those models of the era. Like they got like a name model and they barely use her, right? And then you've got Schwarzenegger's backstory, and because it is Mr. Freeze, he has one of the more compelling backstories. And then there's Bane in there, and Commissioner Gordon Alfred. Like it's a lot. It's a lot. So those are my two initial sort of high-low thoughts. I'll give it to Chris.
Okay, I guess my high is, like I said, if you go into this watching it as a Batman 66 update, it's a fantastic movie, and I think, and as I rewatch it more and more, that is definitely where I sit with this. It is a great movie. It is a spectacle. the cinematography is good. The sets are just outlandish. It fits right in with the crazy Batman 66, theme. And the fight sequences are decent. The action sequences are good, despite Schwarzenegger's, one-liners.
I think are movie enhancers. I love his one-liners. People are divided on that, though.
Some of them are good. Some of them are not so good. I did also like, everybody knows Freeze's backstory, and they kind of they talk about it, which I think is good. You get his backstory, you get Poison Ivy's backstory. I liked that. You said there was a lot going on. It's like, yeah, there's a lot going on. They handle it fairly well.
True. True.
I do like you get a little bit more interaction with Bruce Wayne and Alfred. And yes, George Clooney, he makes a great he makes a great Bruce. He makes an okay Batman, in my opinion.
Yeah, okay Batman. I would like to see him like you said, I think internet might have froze a little bit, but you were saying he made a good Bruce Wayne. We agreed on that. I would have liked to seen him get maybe a different script just to see how that would have fit. If he had this, if he got to be Val Kilmer and Batman Forever, would we like him a lot more? I don't know, but I don't think he was awful, but
no, none of the guys that have ever played Batman, at least up through the Nolan series. I haven't seen anything past that, so I can't speak to that. But up through Nolan, none of them are awful all the way around. I mean, they're not awful at all. It's just they're working with the hand they're dealt.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I've seen every Batman movie, and I like them all to some extent. Like, I was prepared as the grumpy old man of this show to be like, what was the sparkling vampire kid who played him in the last one?
Pattinson.
I was fully prepared to not like him because I'm old and he was in Twilight, and those two things don't go together, right? I'm an old man and Twilight don't jive. And I watched it and I was like, kid did pretty good, like, again, it always comes down to the writing, because I mean, we're not doing that movie, but the only thing that really bugged me about his performance in that movie is the way he treated Alfred. Like, you're not my dad. You haven't seen it yet, but he's real whiny with Alfred. You're not my dad. And I'm like, the hell he's not. That's Alfred. Show him some respect, But kid did all right, he did all right. But I get what your point is. I've never seen one where I was just like, you suck. I mean, I'll be honest, as a kid who was sort of raised on this era of Batman, sort of the first, what we call the first four, even though there was the Adam West. Like, the only Batman I was always like, that guy kind of sucks, when I was young, was Adam West. I was like, Adam West sucks. And then I got a little older, more mature, and I was like, and I realized what was going on. Like, because I was always like, it's so corny. And then I realized they were trying to be corny. Like, they were trying to be corny. And I realized like Adam West really was this really, really cool guy, and they were trying. So I was like, it all worked.
I think as far as the biggest detraction from this movie, because at this point in time, I was heavy into comics. So I was reading, 2 or 3 different Spider-Man titles, Detective Comics, Batman, Wolverine, Lobo, Punisher War Journal, all that. And so I'm thinking, ooh, Bane, this is going to be great. And
I thought the same thing.
Right there, that right there is the thing that really pissed me off about this movie was Bane. I'm thinking, are you kidding me? After what he looks like in the comic and the fact that he is this, muscle-bound brainiac.
Yeah,
and
dude's a genius.
He's basically hired muscle now and an idiot.
Bomb. I was so mad at that point.
Yes.
For those of you who don't know anything about, like, if you're just a moviegoer, like, the Bane of the Nolan series is much more the Bane of the comics. Like, hugely muscle bound, but smart, like real smart. Like, he figured out the lickety split that Bruce Wayne was Batman. Went after him in a great series called Nightfall. Took him out successfully.
Yep, like, I got them all.
Like, Bane. Yes, I take back everything I say about this movie being a jumbled mess. That's part of its glory as my negative. I'm just going to go to Camp Chris and be like, if anyone deserved his own movie to be Batman's only villain, it's Bane.
Yes,
It is
definitely,
absolutely Bane. And we
definitely.
have
And
some.
they did that too, and they
Yes.
did that very well. I
Yeah.
know a lot of people kind of crap on that one, but no, it was good for what it was. It was good. That is Bane, how Bane should be.
A much more scary and terrifying. Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Speaking of the villains, we have a bit going on in the chat. Let's see. Kathy said the only thing these movies do that bother her are too many villains at a time. And Jim replied that he agrees, except for Batman 89. They all add multiple villains, which seems like they couldn't focus enough on the villain. And yeah, they kind of just keep getting watered down a bit. Kathy said something that I really, really like, and I'll put the comment on the screen and I'll read it. This and Batman Forever are movies I really liked until everyone was telling me the reason I shouldn't. Guess what? I do what I want and I like what I like. And I'm like, yeah. Because, and that comment hits home, because I would say from 97 to maybe 2007, maybe 2010, I don't know. I would have been one of those turds that like tries to tell you shouldn't like things. I've been like, how could you like Batman and Robin? Like, it's just a joke of a movie. I would have been that guy. And I don't like being that guy. Anyway, yeah, you know what? We probably both need to talk about how we turned on it. Like, I think for you, was it that bit of advice to look at it as Batman 66?
It was that bit of advice, because up until that point, I watched it sparingly, if at all. I had it in a a 4-disc set. So I've got, Batman Forever, Batman Returns, and Batman and Robin. But my go-tos were always Batman and Batman Forever, or Batman and Batman Returns, and occasionally Batman Forever. And I would kind of always skip over Batman and Robin up until 4 or 5 years ago, when somebody said that to me on X, and I was like, so I went back and rewatched it. I was like, yeah, he's right. He's right. there's absolutely nothing untrue in his statement.
Well, here's what I think changed me after I thought about it for a while, because it just became a point where I was like, this is one of those movies that I call a homesick movie, when you're just homesick and you just want to put something on that you don't have to dive too deep into. Kind of makes you feel a little good. I watch this a lot. I watch Batman Forever a lot. I watch A View to a Kill, the 1985 James Bond movie, is my homesick James Bond. I just like to watch those when I'm homesick. And so it got me thinking, I was like, why did I turn, like, why do I enjoy it? Why is this almost a comfort movie now? And I think it's because of the way comic book movies in general have changed since 1997. Like, at this point in 97, we're sort of in a phase where us comic book movie nerds are like, we're demanding more gritty, more real. I love Blade. Blade was probably the first one to really kind of turn that, because just as a sort of a reminder to everybody, this Batman and Robin is in the age of movies like Steel with Shaquille O'Neal.
Oh yeah.
Spawn with Michael Jai White, which we might need to revisit. I don't know if it has a 5 or not. It probably has a little over a 5.
No, I remember watching it in the theater, and I thought it was okay. Going back and watching it now, I'm thinking, ooh, this is kind of rough.
I haven't rewatched it since back then, and it's been on my list of things to do. But that's just to give you listeners and viewers some context. So here's what I'm trying to say. We were all like, we want realistic gritty. It's sort of that Nolan universe did that, right? And for those of us Batman fans, like, yeah, this is much more Batman than that last 97 piece of crap, right? And then realistic and gritty. Think Logan, with Hugh Jackman, sort of the darker one, the one, the spoiler, if you haven't seen Logan, just pause the show now. But he dies in the end of Logan and all this stuff. And my point being, Sin City, and my point being, movies just got darker and grittier. They need more realistic comic book movie thing, right? So when you go back and watch Batman and Robin from 97, it's different. It stands out. It is pure fun. It's back then we didn't want pure fun. This is for kids. This is toyetic, to use their own words. But now it feels good because everything else we watch is so grounded in dark realism that this stands out. Now, admittedly, Marvel helps turn the corner, with the MCU, with the advent of Iron Man and stuff, to where you get a good balance of fun and that, the Marvel formula becomes a thing. But then that's its own worst enemy because it's the Marvel formula, and they're all kind of the same in a way. You know what I'm saying? There's a theme that runs through all the Marvel movies. And so once again, when you come back to something like Batman and Robin, or my aforementioned, I'd never seen Steel before. It's about a year ago. So I was like, I'm going to watch Steel. And everybody's like, tells me how terrible it is. And I found it so enjoyable just because it was so different. And so I think it's a combination of it being having this completely different tone that you don't see anymore, right? That makes it interesting and fun. You couple that with the fact that over the last, especially 10 years or so, I've become enamored with B movies and bad cinema and things like that, where I start appreciating them more and like enjoying the badness more. I think those two things are what turned me around on Batman and Robin. I think that's it.
I would agree, but going back, like you said, going back and watching it again, with that Batman 66 theme and mindset in mind, and it's much better. Plus, and you're right, it is a little more lighthearted. The dialogue is the one-liners in this are bad. They're Commando level bad. But what
kind of what you want.
It's well, it's not dark, like you said, it's not dark and serious. The first two are dark. I'm not quite sure I'd say serious, but the first two, Batman and Batman Returns, they're dark, but they were good. They weren't like dark and brooding and gritty. They were dark and fun. And this was bright and goofy and fun, at least looking at it now. Looking at it in 1997, I thought it was crap.
I was angry with it then. I've made peace with it. I think that maybe it's just part of our brains too, that we know it's a known quantity now. We know what it is, and it has a place. I think for both of us, there's a place for it. Like, when you just want just some goofy, like borderline, like this could absolutely be a Batman cartoon. It's just a live action Batman cartoon. Like, it's very cartoony in like you said, the writing, in the color palettes are very bold in this one.
Yes,
they were getting bold in Batman Forever, and they went all the way bold in this one. And I don't necessarily begrudge them that. It has a look and a style. Gotham City still has a cool look to it, and it doesn't bother me.
We had some good cameos in this one too. Because Coolio shows up in that bike racing scene.
He does,
and then Jesse Ventura shows up as one of the Arkham security guards.
That's right.
Do you recognize his partner when they drag Freeze into the cell the first time?
I'm very focused on Jesse in that moment, so you're gonna have to tell me who he was.
It's Ralph Moeller from Best of the Best. I think it's Best of the Best 2.
Okay.
And he was also in Gladiator with Russell Crowe. He was the big dude that was basically Maximus's right-hand man, as when he got caught as a gladiator. Because I'm looking at the guy, I'm thinking, oh my God, is that who I think it is? And I looked it up. I'm like, yep, that's Ralph Moeller.
I remember when Pat and I did this, we were talking about cameos. I don't know if we pegged him out. I definitely remember talking about Coolio.
And if you look closely, I caught it this time because I saw this in the trivia and I thought, wait, really? If you look at the motorcycle racing scene when they first show up, you'll see one of the gangs there is dressed like the Droogs from A Clockwork Orange.
Ah, okay.
And I saw it and I go, oh, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
So, yeah. Batman and Robin, y'all. What can we say? Chris and I kind of like I kind of like it, in the chat. Once again, Kathy's dropping bangers today. Jim did mention that they didn't do Bane any justice.
Yeah.
And Kathy mentioned that movies are entertainment. I like to lean into fun because life is already dark and gritty. And
she's not wrong.
I have no beef with that.
Which was why I was pleasantly surprised when I saw The Naked Gun today. When I first heard they were rebooting that or redoing it, I thought, you can't do this justice, no way. But then when I saw the trailers and I saw Liam Neeson was playing Frank Drebin Jr., I was like, I am so down for this.
it appealed to me, but I was still nervous. I'm so glad to hear that you enjoyed it.
I'm trying to think. It's quote unquote gritty, it has that dark look to it, but it's got the goofiness with the dialogue from the first one. It's almost like if you took Liam Neeson from Taken and combine it with the original Naked Gun. That's what you have here.
Wow, that's a formula that can work. Yeah.
It was good. It was good. And the end credits scene is pretty funny. And there's some stuff throughout the credits too.
I am looking forward to it. Just a couple other quick hitters of things to like about Batman and Robin. I mentioned him earlier. Michael Goff returns as Alfred. This will be his last outing as Alfred.
And Pat Hingle returns too.
Yep, I was about to say Pat Hingle as movies. Commissioner Gordon. They're the only two guys, I think, to make it in all four.
I think you're right.
Yeah, and I also love pointing out that the evil doctor that turned Pamela Isley into Poison Ivy when they're in the forest, he was played by John Glover, who would go on to be Lionel Luthor, Lex Luthor's father on Smallville. So that dude is just hiding out in the DC universe wherever you can find a part.
Well, see, he started talking, and I'm like, I recognize that voice, and then I started looking around, like, okay, yeah, I've seen him in this, seen him in this, seen him in this. He's also done voice work for, I believe it was Batman the Animated Series. He played the Riddler.
Oh, okay, yeah, I know he could. I know he dabbles in the DC universe here and there and everywhere. Mm-hmm. For some reason, to me, he'll always be like the weird sleazy TV guy from Scrooged.
Yes. That was where when I heard the voice, I'm thinking, what have I seen him in? And then I pull up his IMDb. I'm like, Scrooge. That's it. He's the executive. He's Bill Murray's, I guess, boss. I think
like consultant, or I don't know. It was weird.
I can't remember which.
Yeah. So, all right. So I guess what I'm going to say in summary before we get to the reviews, and we have any comments on the reviews, and then we'll do our scores, and then we'll look at where Jarrod ranks it in season 2, because this is episode 2 of season 2, where it's going to sit on our new rack and stack chart. But yeah, overall, if you're a listener or viewer and you hate Batman and Robin because it's just too campy and it doesn't fit the Batman universe for you, I'm okay with that. If you want to enjoy it more and turn the corner and join Chris and I, you look at it as a Batman 66 homage, or you are sort of burnt out on the modern superhero formula, and so you just want something that feels different, try Batman and Robin. That's what I'm going to say. Good. Okay, let's just go ahead and do the thing where I bring in the comments that I pulled off of my Plex, because as I've mentioned on lots of episodes, Plex will often put up Rotten Tomatoes comments on the Plex right there. So I just screenshotted them. Here's the first one. First one's from the Chicago Tribune. Michael Wilmington says the movie has its entertaining flashes, but there's too much bat jive and bat hokum. I can't argue with that. I mean, it has a lot of bat jive and bat hokum. I like the phrase bat hokum. I mean, yeah, I think he's basically saying, the tomfoolery of Batman and Robin didn't work for him, but he did say it had entertaining flashes. So,
$10 says that guy never grew up on the original Batman series, like we did.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Next up is a review from David Kerr at the New York Daily News. There's plenty to look at, but nothing to feel. And I pulled that one up because I was like, again, not necessarily wrong. There's not a lot of heart in this movie. There's a lot of spectacle. To me, when I think back on the heart of it, I think of those moments of Bruce and Alfred, while Alfred's trying to hide his illness and Bruce is trying to save him. To me, that's the biggest heart of the movie. And then, of course, with a little dash of the Mr. Freeze story and, his wife being in suspended animation and all that, that's always for comic book fans, it's always a tugs on the heartstrings, but they didn't really mind that in this movie. This movie is much like he says, a lot more flashbang. So,
yeah.
Third comment. Mike LaSalle from San Francisco Chronicle says George Clooney is the big zero of the film and should go down in history as the George Lazenby of the series.
Oh, he's taking shots at your boy George Lazenby.
That's why I picked it up. I was like, all right, let me straighten this cat out. All right. First of all, George Lazenby is awesome, and he did a great Bond movie. But I feel like. And this is one of the big reasons I picked that comment. I feel like George Lazenby is, especially in the 007 community, because he's not in any other community, like his stock has just gone up and up and up over the years. More and more people are loving Majesties. More and more people are loving George's performance in Majesties. I think that maybe not to that extent, certainly not yet, but I think George Clooney's on the rise a little bit here. I think more people have realized that Clooney didn't ruin the character. He didn't write this movie. He didn't direct it. Like, he did what he did. But to me, I think there was some ground gained. I don't know if did you see the latest Flash movie?
No, I have not.
I'm going to drop a spoiler on you now. Just
that's fine.
You and the listening audience. The Flash is all about how he jacks up timelines and all this stuff, right? And if you know anything about the latest Flash movie, Keaton reprises his role as Batman. Like,
I do know that
Michael Keaton is Batman because Flash is going through timelines and he finds Batman and quote unquote fixes things, because there's always something a little off from the timeline when he gets back. So when he gets back and he goes to sort of reunite with or see Bruce Wayne once again, guess who's playing Bruce Wayne? It is George effing Clooney in the movie. And I thought that is brilliant. Like, that is a brilliant use of that actor. Sorry I spoiled it for you. There's a few cameos like that in the film that I think you might enjoy. Your mileage may vary on your Ezra Miller Flash, but I feel like Keaton Batman can carry you through it, because that's what did it for me. But we're not doing that movie. So anyway, I do think Clooney's a little bit on the rise, like Lazenby is, but yeah, don't take swings at Lazenby. And I've been a long time defender of Clooney on this, even back when I didn't like you and I both didn't like it in our 20s and 30s, right? I would always say I don't think Clooney was necessarily bad. I don't even think he was miscast. I just think he got a wonky movie.
He like I said earlier, he worked with the hand he was dealt. He was not handed the greatest script, and so he frankly, after watching it Friday night, I think he kind of leaned into it.
You're feeling Clooney was feeling that one, you think?
I think so. I think so.
All right. Well, guess what, man? We just went through 3 rotten reviews. I actually found a positive one. Here you go. Jeff Millar from the Houston Chronicle says, if you like them busy, this sequel's for you. And he actually gave it a fresh review on Rotten Tomatoes. And
I'm not wrong.
No, and I mentioned that earlier as I mentioned it as a downside, that it was busy, maybe too busy, so much so that it lost some of the heart that one of the other guys just mentioned. I can agree with that. But after this long discussion between you and I on this, I've discovered that the thing about it that's the worst is the wasting of pain. It really is.
Yes. I mean, and yeah, it was busy, but I have seen movies that have been just as busy or busier, but there was nothing here in the way the story played out that didn't leave anything necessarily unexplained or not tied up at the end. Whereas you see some other movies where they've got like 5 different subplots, and you get to the end of the movie and like, well, what happened to this? Why in the world did you introduce this? Because it went nowhere. It added nothing to the story. But this, it all tied together. Yeah, there were quite a few things going on, but it all tied together.
That's fair. I'm not going to fight you on that. Not at all. Strange coincidence. Last night, for the first time ever, I watched John Carter. I'd never seen
saw that.
You saw me post on that.
Yeah,
It is.
you
People
post that.
want to talk about that movie. That thing's got like that post has hundreds of comments now. People just talking about it. I had to mute the post. People are talking about that one so much. But that movie really, and I find it to be very similar to Batman and Robin, is that it is busy.
Mm-hmm.
It is busy, and the fast pace doesn't allow me to get heart in it a lot. But man, it was fun to watch, and that's why I think first time I'd ever seen John Carter, but I liked it, and I feel very similarly to Batman and Robin. That is very busy, but it was fun to watch. So there's.
See, I haven't seen John Carter yet. Maybe I need to go back and watch that.
All right. Well, then I can recommend it. Let's go into, I guess it's time to talk the rankings.
Yeah.
Let's find out. Last episode, as of season 2, we took the champion from season 1, and that's where the list starts. It was Jaws 3. And last episode was the first episode of season 2, where we watched Assassin from 1985. We both kind of liked it. It came in at under Jaws 3, though. As which one, we like the best of the movies that we cover on Best. Well, not we. This is Jarrod's list, and then we get Chris's thoughts. I still like Jaws 3 the best. So the burning question is Batman and Robin going to dethrone Jaws 3 as the number 1 movie for Jarrod now on Best Under 5? And it's time to reveal that. So here we go. If this was a produced show, you'd hear a drum roll, but I'm just going to click a button. And the answer is yes. I have decided Batman and Robin is now the number 1 spot of movies that we've covered on Best Under 5, pushing Jaws to the 2 spot and Assassin to number 3 for our current rankings in season 2. And now I will provide my rationale, and then we will get Chris's thoughts. I enjoy throwing on and watching just for the heck of it, for fun, Batman and Robin and Jaws 3 almost exactly equally as well. So it was a tough decision whether or not I was going to have Batman and Robin dethrone Jaws 3, because I was like, I like them to throw them on just as sort of fun, campy background movies equally as well. So the tiebreaker for me was, if I like them equally as well, then I picked Batman and Robin because it has a 3.8 and Jaws had a 4 something or whatever. Like Batman and Robin had to climb up the depths of IMDb rankings higher than Jaws did. So that is why I picked it. It is now top of my list. Thoughts from Chris?
Oh man, yeah, I've been thinking about this last couple of days, and I am not sure. I love both of these for different reasons. I like Batman and Robin because it's very much like I said, like a friend of mine has said, it's very much an homage to the Batman 1966 movie. But Jaws 3 is just, it's absolutely bonkers. When you consider all the trouble they went to with the 3D aspect of it, and then when you watch it, it's blatantly obvious where the 3D effects are, and the shark boop in the glass, and slow motion glass boop, and then it shatters. It's like, God, this is horrible, but it's absolutely hilarious. And and yeah, I think I got to agree with you. I think Batman and Robin tops Jaws 3 strictly because it's not so much that it scored lower, but because it's more of a fun movie as opposed to Jaws 3, which is trying to take itself too seriously for what it is.
Okay.
Batman and Robin's it just edges out Jaws 3 because it is the more fun of the two, because it's enjoyable to watch, not because it's bad, but because it is a spectacle.
I got you. Like, yeah. Like Batman and Robin is in on its own joke, and Jaws 3 may not necessarily always be. That's fair. That is fair. Well, guys, we have about done it. We have finally covered Batman and Robin that has a 3.8. Now Chris and I need to rescore it. Get my pencil ready here. I don't know why, but I took a pencil out. It currently has
so
a
you
3.
can act like it's official.
Yeah, I'm going to be very official with this. I will use this opportunity when we're talking about decimals, 3 point. We don't get to do a lot of decimal scores on the Longbox Crusade Network, so it's always exciting to do that here. We're big on sticking to the number formattings on our shows when we score things, as longtime listeners will know. So doing decimals is always exciting. But speaking of decimals, it also has a decimal in it, 106.5. Q106.5 is the 80s and 90s streaming radio station the Longbox Crusade has partnered with. As we're wrapping up the show here and you're like, oh, I'm sad I don't have anything to listen to now that the show's over, I highly recommend checking out Q106.5. You can either go to the website, which is www.q106.5.com, or get the Q1065 app on your device. Trust me, you will not regret it. We've had luckily for us, the Longbox Crusade, we've had sponsorships in the past, and I've enjoyed them all. Like, personally enjoyed them all. This is just definitely one of those. Q1065 is one of those that I was literally I was there on launch day for Q1065. I was literally there on launch day on Q1065.com, chatting with the guy who runs it on the X site when they were launching it. I was so excited for this new 80s 90s station. I didn't realize how good it was going to be. So yeah, this isn't just one of those, hey, check it out, I got to rate it. It's not even on a script. I just wrote a note that says mention Q1065. Because
right, I'm gonna have to check this out now.
Please do. And Chris, since you haven't really dabbled in it yet, let me tell you what you're in for. My favorite thing about Q1065 is they play not only the landmark hits of the 80s and 90s that you expect, but Rob over there, their programming guy, he digs deep. Like, you will hear songs that you haven't thought about since like 1994 or something. You'll be like, I haven't thought about that song in forever, and it'll make you happy.
Okay, like, I'm sold.
Yeah, I loved it. I love it. Everybody I've turned on to loves it. So yeah, check out Q1065.com or the Q1065 app. All right. Now let's get to that scoring. It's got a 3.8 on IMDb. I will let Chris go first and find out if, as usual, he's grumpier than I am.
I don't know. I think I'm going to surprise you here. I am actually going to, let's see, what'd you say it was on IMDb? 3.8?
3.8. Let me double check since I have the site up in front of me. Yeah, 3.8.
I don't have it. I am going to double that to a 7.6.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's click the little back 30-second arrow and you can hear him say it again. Chris just doubled it from a 3.8 to a 7.6. Wow. Let's all just take a moment.
Surprised you haven't fainted.
Wow. Well, here's the funny thing, Chris. I don't have a score written down. I was going to call it on the fly, but here's what was in my brain. No BS.
Okay.
I was like, I'm going to score this somewhere between a 7 and an 8. And Chris just dropped a 7.6. And since that was my thought process, I'm going to drop a 7.5 and let Chris be. I will be the grumpy one.
You will be the grumpy one by a 1/10 of a point.
By a 1/10. I'm giving it to Chris on this one. He's earned it. Yeah, we both like it at over a 7. Now, it's also important to point out to our listeners, there's some people that are going to hear this and be like, Batman and Robin gets a 7 point whatever. This podcast is BS. First of all, it's just our opinions. Second of all, you have to factor in the amount of bad movies Chris and I have watched. Like our scales are very different from a lot of people's scales. It's stuff
yes.
Like we have both seen Santa and the Ice Cream Bunny, and Chris he watched it without riff tracks. So I don't know what to tell you.
And Santa Claus Conquers the Martians without riff tracks.
I watched Santa Claus Conquers the Martians today, but it was the Mystery Science Theater version. So, yes. Yeah, once you've plumbed the depths like we have, your scoring definitely change. You'd be thrilled just to watch Batman and Robin after you've seen Santa and the Ice Cream Bunny. I assure you. All right. That is about it. Let's look and see. Kathy in the chat scored it. She said 6.5, maybe a 7. So she's not far off from us.
Yeah.
So there's that. So I suppose that is Batman and Robin done and dusted, ladies and gentlemen. We have grabbed it by its greasy, hate-covered chain that keeps it down to the 3.8. We have drug it up to above a 7. Black Belt Chris gave it a 7.6. I don't know what to do with my hands at this point. He's usually the grumpier one, but yeah, and I decided to land on 7.5. We got in the chat, we got 6.5s and 7s, and yeah, this is one that's going to be interesting, more and more interesting over time. I think, especially like I said, like Chris said, watch it with a Batman 66 filter. Like I said, if you're kind of tired of samey superhero movies and you just want something that's sort of intentionally lighter and goofier, go back and watch Batman and Robin. You might find yourself having a good time. But as well as movies like Chris and I've talked about, we watch a lot of bad movies. Like if you're starting to embrace the love of a quote unquote bad movie, there's a lot of love in this one, man. You can really enjoy it. You really can.
There's a whole lot of love in this one. There's more love in this one than some of the other ones we've seen.
Yeah.
I'm not talking just the ones we've reviewed.
Yes. All right. Oh, I did want to add one other thing before we go. That probably won't make one lick of difference in the podcast version because the podcast version comes out months and months later. But for those of you watching live, listening live, I just found out yesterday that later this month, I want to say it's a Monday, like the 25th of August, their AMC is releasing Batman 89 and Batman Returns in theaters for one day only.
Ooh.
I personally am very excited about that because I'm hoping the AMC that's close to me gets it because I have an AMC that's not too far away.
Same here.
And I am very excited because being the big Batman fan that I am, 89 and Returns are the only two Batman movies I never saw on the big screen.
I'm assuming if you're going, you're taking your son, right?
Yeah. I mean, well, unless he's not available, I'm still going without him. But yeah,
right. Yeah.
But yeah, I would more than likely take my son with. The only thing that would hold me back from that is if they're playing him as a double feature. That could be a long time for him. He's 10.
Well, especially considering school will have started at that point, and if it's not a weekend,
I think it's a Monday. So
there's a lot of those special events like that they do in the middle of the week to pump people into the theaters during the weekdays.
Yeah, in fact, he and we have tickets for 2 weeks from today. We have to go all the way to Montgomery, which is about a little over an hour drive for me, but they're re-releasing 1990s Ninja Turtles, the original Turtles movie.
And I saw that today in one of the previews before the Naked Gun.
Well, yeah, we've got it. We've had our tickets for a couple of weeks. He and I are going 2 Sundays from today. I got us the Sunday matinee so that we can be home in time for him to get ready for school the next day. So anyway, Batman and Batman Returns are back in theaters. Looks like I want to say it's the 25th. Don't quote me on that, but take a look out there, people. And with that bit of advice, Chris, you got anything else for anybody? Or are we good here?
I think we're good.
All right. In that case, thank you for stopping by and checking out with us. We certainly encourage you guys to share your comments and thoughts. You can do that. We are at LONGBOX CRUSADE on X, Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, YouTube. Just look for LONGBOX CRUSADE and drop us some comments. You can leave us a voicemail at 707-532-5269. That is 707-532-LBOX. We would love to play your voicemail on the show. We certainly recommend everything under the LONGBOX CRUSADE umbrella. So check it out. Take your podcatcher and just point at the LONGBOX CRUSADE and you'll get all kinds of pop culture goodness. With that, I've been Jared. My partner's been Chris. I can be found on X, Facebook, and Instagram at Yard Sale Artists. It's all Yard Sale Artists. If you would like to chat with me, I will chat back with you. Chris, where can people find you?
People can find me on X at BlackBeltX21.
There you have it, folks. That's how to chat with us. We've enjoyed chatting with you. And I can't wait to find out what we're going to dig up for the next episode. And until then, this podcast has been rated B for bye.